stage. This second or shaping stage begins as the al'laqة, which is an Arabic word meaning a leech. And when I was first asked about this, did the human embryo look like a leech? And when I thought about this for a few minutes, I realized that it resembled the leech very closely, as you will see. During the early stage, the embryo loses its rounded shape and elongates until it takes the shape of a leech. And this picture here, I went over to our library and got out a book on leeches and had my artist draw that exactly from the textbook showing a leech. And here's a human embryo here, and they're on the 21, 22 days. And I think you have to agree that they look very much alike. In fact, you see that the leech has segments, just like a worm, and the human embryo has these same segments. In fact, we still have a remnant of those segments in our bodies. If any of you have ever had shingles, ever heard of anyone having shingles, you always get the eruptions and bands across the area that's infected. And those bands are the remnants of those segments. So this is what I believe to be the leech-like appearance of the human embryo. And I believe in my descriptions in my book, I talk about it having a leech-like appearance. The similarity between the embryo and a leech is amazing. The embryo is attached to the wall of the chorionic sac, which is attached by chorionic villi to the endometrium or lining of the uterus. And so the human embryo is attached to the lining of the uterus, just like a leech will attach to your skin. I don't know whether you have leeches here or not, but we have certain lakes in Canada. If you go in swimming, these leeches will attach to your skin and suck the blood. So the analogy there is quite amazing. Initially, the embryo acquires a primitive circulatory and nervous system during this early stage. Thus, the term al'laqة refers to the leech-like external appearance of the embryo, as well as to its clinging relationship to the uterus, and is an appropriately descriptive term for this stage. Another meaning mentioned by the interpreters for al'laqة is similar to a blood clot. And the external appearance of the embryo during this phase is similar to that of blood due to the appearance of the primitive heart and the cardiovascular system. If you look at the picture at the bottom, it shows an embryo of about 22 or 23 days, and the bottom is the yolk sac, and the embryo is the part at the top, and you see all these blood vessels. And if you were to see an embryo at that stage, and I should say that most embryos will undergo spontaneous abortion at about this stage. In other words, when they're about 2 or 3 weeks old, they will often spontaneously abort. That means that they just are expelled from the mother's uterus without a known cause, although we've done a lot of studies on this and find that many of them have very abnormal chromosomes, and they couldn't have survived if they had lived. So, as we used to say in the old days, this was God's way of ridding the body of something that was very abnormal. But anyway, we do know that they are aborted at this early stage, and they do look like a clot of blood, because when they pull away from the uterus, then you have all these exposed blood vessels which have the bloody appearance. So this explains one interpretation for al'laqة as a blood clot. I prefer the one being a leech-like structure. Now, the blood does not circulate until the end of the 3rd week, but on the 21st day, the heart of the embryo connects with blood vessels in the embryo, the connecting stalk, and the chorion, and the blood starts to circulate, as you could see in this diagram in the bottom. Thus, the embryo takes the appearance of a blood clot, even though its blood is fluid, and these features incorporate the other meaning of a blood clot for the al'laqة phase.